The Mark of Cain, a tale of brotherhood, betrayal, and exile. The birth of Cain and Abel. Adam and Eve, the first man and woman created by God, are cast out of Eden after disobeying his command. They begin life in the harsh world outside paradise, toiling for their survival. Eve bears her first son, Cain, and later, she gives birth to Abel. Cain, the elder, is strong-willed and ambitious, while Abel is gentle and devout. Cain becomes a farmer, tilling the land and growing crops. Abel, on the other hand, becomes a shepherd, tending to his flocks with care. The two brothers grow up with different perspectives. Cain trusts in his own labor and abilities, while Abel humbly acknowledges God in all things. The offering to God. One day, both brothers prepare offerings to God. Cain, proud of his work, brings some of his crops as a sacrifice. Abel, recognizing that all his belongs to God, offers the best of his flock, the firstborn sheep and their fat portions. God looks favorably upon Abel's offering, pleased with the sincerity of his heart. However, he does not accept Cain's offering, for it is given without true devotion. Cain is filled with rage and jealousy, feeling humiliated that his younger brother is favored over him. Seeing Cain's anger, God speaks to him. "Why are you angry, and why is your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. It desires you, but you must rule over it." But Cain, consumed by resentment, ignores God's warning. The murder in the field. Cain lures Abel into the field under the pretense of speaking with him. The sun is setting, casting long shadows over the earth. Abel, unsuspecting, follows his brother, believing no harm will come. As they stand alone, Cain's fury boils over. He takes a stone and strikes Abel, his own flesh and blood, until he is lifeless. The ground soaks up Abel's blood, the first murder in human history. A silence falls over the land, broken only by Cain's ragged breath as he realizes the gravity of his deed. God's judgment and the mark of Cain. That night, Cain feels an unbearable weight upon his soul. He hears a voice calling him. "Cain, where is your brother Abel?" Cain, attempting to hide his guilt, responds, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" But God's voice thunders in reply. "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries to me from the ground." God curses Cain, declaring that the ground will no longer yield its strength to him. He will become a wanderer, cursed to roam the earth with no rest. Terrified, Cain cries out, "My punishment is more than I can bear. Whoever finds me will kill me." But God, in his mercy, places a mark upon Cain so that no one will take vengeance upon him. Then he sends Cain away from his presence into the land of Nod, east of Eden, the exile in the city of Cain. Cain wanders alone, tormented by his crime and separated from his family. He eventually settles in Nod and builds a city, naming it after his son, Enoch. Though he tries to find purpose, he is haunted by the weight of his past. Cain's descendants grow and spread, but violence and corruption follow his bloodline. The curse of his sin lingers, shaping generations to come. The death of Cain. As years pass, Cain grows old, his body weary from a lifetime of wandering. Some say he is eventually killed in a tragic accident by one of his own descendants, while others believe he simply fades into the wilderness, never escaping his punishment. His legacy becomes a warning, a tale of unchecked jealousy, sin, and the consequences of defying God's will. Though he was marked for protection, his name is forever remembered with sorrow. The echo of Abel's blood. Abel's blood, though spilled, is not forgotten. His righteousness echoes through time, a stark contrast to Cain's fate. From his lineage will one day come the hope of redemption, the promise of salvation that will undo the curse of sin. For though sin crouches at the door, God's mercy always makes a way for those who seek him. Conclusion: the legacy of Cain and Abel. The story of Cain and Abel stands as a powerful testament to the dangers of jealousy, unchecked anger, and rebellion against God. Cain's downfall was not just his act of murder, but his refusal to heed God's warning and seek repentance. His fate, a life of wandering, isolation, and unfulfilled toil, serves as a sobering reminder of the consequences of sin. Yet, even in judgment, God's mercy is evident. He does not destroy Cain, but marks him for protection, demonstrating his unwillingness to let vengeance consume humanity. Abel, though his life was cut short, is remembered as righteous, and his blood cries out as a symbol of innocence and justice. This tragic tale echoes throughout history, showing that sin, if left unchecked, leads to destruction. But it also points to the hope of redemption, where one day, a greater sacrifice through Christ will cleanse the stain of sin and offer mankind a path back to God. Cain's mark was one of exile, but God's ultimate plan is one of restoration for all who turn back to him.